So you're an older man. Maybe you're in your 40s, 50s, or even 60s. You've seen the world. You've built a life. Maybe you've raised a family, and maybe you've served a few heartbreaks too. Then she appears. A younger woman, vibrant, full of fire, a little wild, a little mysterious. And somehow she notices you. Not just a polite smile or surface-level chatter. No, this is something real. She gives you attention, eye contact, laughter, curiosity, and suddenly, whether you say it out loud or keep it buried inside, you start to feel something awaken. Something you haven't felt in years. It's flattering. It's exciting. It's electric. But this right here is where most men fall hard. Because there's a very specific shift happens when an older man becomes drawn to a younger woman. He forgets something vital. He forgets that he is already complete. He forgets the years, the scars, the wisdom, the lessons. They air his power. But in that hit of dopamine, in that rush of feeling seen again, he begins to adjust. He starts softening his edge, shrinking himself to fit inside her world. He trades his throne for her approval. And the moment "don't try to be her, I get that" happens, the dynamic flips. She stops seeing a man and starts seeing a guy. It's just another guy trying to impress, trying to be cool, trying to win her. And just like that, the attraction dies. This video isn't about judgment. It's about clarity. It's about helping you protect something more important than her attention, your masculinity, your dignity, your respect. Because this isn't just about dating. These air life strategies, if you've ever felt confused, manipulated, or thrown off course by a younger woman who hasn't lived half the life you have, then this is your wake-up call. Stick around because by the end of this video, you'll know exactly where men fall and how you can rise again by doing less, not more. Rule 1, don't try to be her age. You're not her peer. And one of the most common mistakes older men make when dealing with younger women is this. They try to shrink themselves into her world. They talk like her, dress like her, try to keep up with TikTok trends, use Gen slang, or pretend they love her favorite YouTube influencer. And sure, it might start with good intentions. You want to connect, relate, build rapport. But what actually happens? You lose the very thing that made you compelling in the first place. The moment you try to act like her equal, you lose your edge. You stop being the grounded, composed, experienced man and start being just another guy chasing her vibe. And here's the thing, she can feel it. Even if she doesn't say it, she senses it in your energy. Women, especially younger ones, have a sixth sense for authenticity. So when an older man tries to act cool by mirroring her lifestyle, it doesn't just feel off, it feels insecure. Your age is not a disadvantage, it's your edge. You've lived, you've failed, you've risen. You carry a deep, unshakable presence that only time in the trenches of life can give you. And that's what draws her in. Not your TikTok fluency, not your Netflix knowledge, but your stillness, your depth, your leadership. Want a real example? Imagine this. You're on a date. She says, "Oh my God, I'm obsessed with this 23-year-old influencer who gives the best advice on relationships." You could nod, pretend you know them, even pull out your phone and fake scroll. Or you could smile, lean back, don't be her emotional sponge and say, "I don't follow that stuff much. I prefer conversations that don't disappear in 24 hours. Boom, one line. That's the difference between a man and a mimic. You didn't insult her. You didn't try to play along. You simply stood firm in your frame. That's a mystery. That's a contrast. That's magnetic. Because here's the paradox. The moment you stop trying to be relatable, you become irresistible. Rule 2. Don't be her emotional sponge. Another trap older men walk into without even realizing it is becoming. The emotional sponge starts innocently. She opens up, talks about her toxic ex, her absent father. Her mental health struggles, the pressure she feels trying to find herself. And because you're older, wiser, more emotionally available, you listen. You feel for her. You think maybe she sees something in me she can't find in boys her age. But slowly, you stop being a man she's attracted to and become her therapist, her crisis hotline, her emotional punching bag. She dumps her storms on you at midnight, and you pick up every time because you believe you're connecting. You think if I'm the only one who understands her, she'll choose. But she won't, because this isn't romantic bonding. It's emotional outsourcing. You're not her safe place. You're her emotional safety net. You're giving her stability. But instead of feeling attracted to your strength, she starts treating you like her support system. That's not love. That's convenient. Here's the brutal truth. If you mistake emotional creating for a romantic attraction, you're going to end up in the friend zone wearing a suit that looks like love. She'll keep talking about the guy who ghosted her. She'll cry on your shoulder when things fall apart. Anthon, she'll disappear for days when she's happy. You're not her partner, you're her reset button. But a Stoic man, he doesn't get pulled into chaos to feel needed. He doesn't try to fix it. He doesn't try to carry burdens that aren't his. He is calm simply by buying calm. He offers presence, not prescriptions. He listens without losing himself. Here's what that looks like in action. She calls you crying, frustrated, spiraling over her latest meltdown. Old you would jump in. What happened? Air you. Okay, what can I do? But the Stoic you simply say, that sounds like a lot. I hope you give yourself space to figure it out. Boom! That line iddles her. You're present, but untouchable. You're not jumping in to fix her. You're not reaching to become her hero. You're not absorbing her mess. You're holding your peace because your peace is your standard. And that's what makes a woman sit up. Not because she can pull you in, but because she can't. Rule 3. Don't chase her validation. This one hurts because there are a lot of strong men. Fall for it without even don't chase her validation auditing. Chasing her validation doesn't look desperate at first. It looks like a complimenting her one more time than she deserves. Waiting longer for her replease than she does for yours. Softening your opinions just to keep her interested. Laughing at jokes that aren't funny. Agreeing with things that don't align with your truth. And you tell yourself, I'm just being kind. I'm showing her I care. But what you're really doing is surrendering your center. And here's what happens. The moment you need her validation, she stops seeing a man and starts seeing a performer. You're not leading, you're pleasing. You're no longer the mountain. You're the manor biting her emotions like a moon. Desperate for her gravity. And women, especially younger ones, they don't respect performers. They test them. They pull back. Think delay replies. Think flirt with someone else just to see if you'll chase. That's not attractive. That's erosion. Real attraction happens when you stay rooted. When her approval descend move you, remember what Marcus Aurelius said? It never ceases to amazim. We all love ourselves more than other people, but care more about their opinion than our own. Flip that. Let men make this practical. She takes 6 hours to reply to your text. What do? You don't double text? You don't send a meme just to reopen. The convo, you don't post a story to catch her attention. You live, you build, you stay centered. Ifs comes back, great. She doesn't, better. Because either way, you didn't compromise your edge. Story time. It's Tom's wake-up call. Let me tell you about Tom. Tom's 48, divorced, built his own business. I met a 28-year-old. She was electric, curious, gorgeous. He was hooked. At first, it was great. But Danta tried to impress her slowly. Tom started adjusting. He began planning elaborate dates just to impress her, complimenting her constantly. Avoiding certain topics just to keep things smooth. Rewriting parts of himself, bit by bit. And guess what? She started pulling back. Less responsive, less engaged, less respectful, until one day she said it. I just don't feel that spark anymore. But what she really meant was, you lost your edge. Here's the twist. Tom didn't beg. He didn't chase, he rebuilt. Kay started training again, expanded his business, reconnected with his mission. He stopped performing and started leading. 3 months later, she reached out again. But this time it was different because he was different. He wasn't trying to win her anymore. He didn't need her attention. And that energy, she felt it instantly. Rule 4, don't try to impress her, lead instead. Let this sink in. You're neither to impress her. That one sentence, if truly understood, will protect you from years of confusion, rejection, and emotional exhaustion. But most older men, they forget because everything in modern dating tells you the opposite. Flashy dinners, clever texting games, changing your entire tone just to get a second date. What can I do to make her like me? Wrong question. The real question is, I leading with strength or dancing for attention? Because when you're with a younger woman, trying to impress her isn't just unnecessary, it's destructive. The moment you shift from leading to performing, you abandon your masculine role. You make her the judge. You put her on the throne and you turn yourself into a contestant. Now you're not holding the frame. You're asking her to hold it. That new shirt you bought, that restaurant you researched just to impress her, that carefully filtered compliment you almost deleted before hitting send. She can feel all of it, not consciously, but in your energy. And what does that energy say? I hope this works. That's not attractive. That's insecure. Don't confuse leadership with domination. Now, don't confuse leadership with domination. It's not. Barking orders. It's not arrogance. It's not overcompensation. It's direction. It's presence. It's stable. And for a younger woman, someone raised on digital noise, emotional Ks, and flaky men, that kind of grounded stillness is rare and magnetic. Here's how a Stoic man moves. She says, where do you want to go? You don't say, whatever you want, I don't care. You say, let's do this. It'll be good. You'll lead not by controlling, but by showing that you know where you're going with or without her. Let me flip the script. Most older men on a first date, they try to impress. Talk about their job, their investments, their car, their travels. But you sit calm, grounded, unbothered. You don't talk towing. You talk to connect. You ask her about her values. You let silence hang when needed. You don't flinch. You don't perform. And she starts leaning in. Not because you're impressive, but because you're anchored. Epictetus said, if y'all want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid. Translation. Stop trying to please the crowd. Start aligning with principle. You don't need to be deep. You need to be real. Because leadership isn't loud. It's quiet, unshakable, unmistakable. The man who leads may not get everyone's attention, but the right woman shouldn't be able to forget him. Rule 5, don't project long-term fantasies. Early, you just met her. She's magnetic. She's young. She's showing interest. And don't project long-term fantasias instantly. Your mind starts racing. You start imagining vacations together, hurloing. At dinner with your friends, maybe even walking down the aisle, you see potential. You see forever. Others. What you don't see is who she really is. Because the second you start building castles in your mind, you stop observing reality. You stop watching her actions. You stop checking for consistency. You start justifying red flags. You overlook misalignment. Why? Because you're high on hope. And hope without observation leads straight into delusion. You tell yourself she's just going through a phase. She just needs time to mature. We'll work through it. But what are you really doing is negotiating with a fantasy, not the woman in front of you, the woman in your head, and she feels it. She feels that pressure. She feels your investment rising before she's even decided what she wants. And instead of feeling seen, she feels suffocated because she didn't ask to be your forever. She was just getting to know you. Stoicism reminds you of this truth. When you are about to put your hand on something, remind yourself what it is. Dating isn't fantasy building. It's data collection. You're not here to plan a future. You're here to pay attention, observe, analyze, feel the energy beneath the words. Because attraction is easy. Compatibility is tested. Instead of dreaming about what could be, watch how she handles conflict, disappointment, accountability. Respect those patterns. That's who she really is. Here's a painful but powerful story. Dean, 52, successful, smart, met a 26-year-old who lit up every room. She was wild, spontaneous, addictive. Within 2 weeks, he was telling his friends, "I think she might be the one." He adjusted his schedule, skipped business trips, prioritized her over his goals. But she ghosted, flaked, inconsistencies everywhere. And Dean, he ignored it because he wasn't seeing her. He was seeing the future he wanted. 3 months in, she disappeared without a word, and Dean was devastated. But not because of what he lost, because of what he imagined. He was grieving a dream, not a woman. Lesson: don't project, don't fantasize. Observe, because if her patterns don't match your values, her potential won't save the relationship. Rule 6, don't be her backup plan. This one's harsh, but it's real. Sometimes you're not her main man, you're not her main man. You're her, maybe her just in case. Or emotional crotch. You're the one she flirts with when she's bored, texts when she's lonely, calls when the man she really wants isn't around. You think she's choosing you? She's using you to fill emotional space. You tell yourself she's just busy. She needs time. She's figuring it out. But deep down, you know you're not her first choice. And here's what Stoicism teaches. A man must never be where he is not respected. You can't be the one she leans on when it's convenient and expects to wait quietly when it's not. Let me give you an example. Paul, 47. I met a 26-year-old through friends. They had amazing conversations, flirtation, laughter, but she never fully committed. She ghosted, came back crying. I talked about other guys. Ken Paul, he picked up every time. He thought, if I stay patient, she'll see I'm the one. What did she see? A man she could use. One day she said, "You're like my safe place." And that's when Eth at him. He wasn't her love. He was her landing pad. He walked away. And months later, she came back. But now he was different. He wasn't there to catch her. He wasn't there to listen to her emotional spirals. He had become a standard, not a safety net. Because real masculine energy isn't in availability, it's in selectivity. You don't become a desirable by being there every time. You become desirable by making her wonder what it costs to lose you. Rule 7, never lose your mission for her. This is where powerful men collapse. Not when she ignores you, not when she tests you, but when you start to feel something real. When you let yourself believe, maybe she's worth bending for. And little by little, you skip the gym. You push back that business call. You rearrange your schedule. You spend more time texting and less time creating. You stop leading and start orbiting. And it doesn't feel like surrender. It feels like love, like commitment, like romance. But what's really happening? You're trading your edge for access. You're stepping off your mission for a woman. You trade your edge for access, and when you do, that something shifts in her. She stops feeling safe. She stops feeling pulled. She starts pulling away. Because women, especially younger ones, aren't drawn to men who put them first. They're drawn to men who put their mission first and invite her to be part of it. A woman doesn't want to be your purpose. She wants to be a witness to it. It's because masculinity isn't about force. It's about direction. And when your direction wobbles, your presence fades. Let me show you the trap. Jordan, 45, CEO, built a company from nothing. I met a 26-year-old artist. Schwa, brilliant, playful, beautiful. He was hooked. They got close fast. But he started changing his habits. Canceled trips, stopped investing, reworked his mornings around her sleep schedule. put goals on hold because they were getting serious. From the outside, it looked romantic, but inside, Jordan was drifting. Up for himself, and she felt it. She didn't say it. She didn't have to. She started pulling back. Then one day, she ghosted him. And that's how attraction dies. Quietly, not because failed, but because you forgot what made you powerful. Stoicism says Amon's worth is no greater than his ambitions. Marcus Aurelius. So, what are you if you abandon your ambitions for comfort? You become forgettable. You lose your mission. You lose her respect. And eventually, you lose yourself. Never forget. A man on fire never runs out of options. A man who gives up his fire for comfort runs out of himself. So wake up early, build your empire, train your body, execute on your code, speak your truth, even if it shakes her. Let her feel the gravity of a man who does not bend for affection. Rule 8. Be the rock, not the puppet. Let's get this straight. She doesn't want you to bend. Even when she tests you, even when she pulls away, even when she gets moody, sarcastic, or emotional, what is she really doing? She's trying to shake you. She wants to see, is this man solid or does he break under pressure? If you flinch, if you chase, if you change your truth to fit her emotional moment, then you're not a rock. You're a puppet. And no, woman, you're a puppet specially. Not a younger one wants to fall in love with a puppet. Here's what most men don't understand. She might say you're too stoic, too cold, too unreadable. But deep down, that stillness is what makes her feel safe. She wants your frame to hold even when she storms. Let me show you what that looks like. Drew, mid-50s, grounded, sharp. Recently divorced. I start TED-ating a 25-year-old. Things were smooth. At first, but then the tests came. Street flirt with other guys in front of him, critique his clothes. Say things like, you'd be hotter if you dressed younger. Old Drew would have shifted, bought new jeans, laughed along to avoid friction. But this Drew, he smiled and said, that's funny. Like the way I move. He didn't flinch. He didn't snap. He didn't teffend. He stood his ground, and what happened? 2 days later, she asked to see him again. Not because he agreed, but because he didn't. She realized this man won't dance for me. He stands for himself. And that's where trust begins. 'Cause here's the truth. Women don't trust the men they can control. They trust the men who can't be moved without principle. That's Stoicism.com. Composed, commanding, not reactive. Not emotional, not approval-seeking. That's the man who leaves a mark. Rule 9. Stop buying her time. Start commanding it. This one's hard to say, but you need to hear it. You don't buy a woman's attention. Not the kind that matters. Not the kind that lasts. You command it. But many older men still believe this lie. If I offer anemone, comfort, effort, she'll stay. So they overextend. Fancy dinners, endless compliments, emotional therapy sessions, texts with no reply. They spend everything trying to keep her close. But that energy, it tells her, I don't think I'm enough. I think I need to earn you. And when she feels that, she might stay, but not out of desire, out of convenience. But a younger woman doesn't want a sponsor. She wants a signal. A signal that your time, your attention, your energy, they aren't cheap. And they can't be bought. They must be deserved. Marcus Aurelius said, waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one. Same thing here. Stop trying to convince her you're valuable. Just be valuable. Let me tell you about Dawn. Dawn, 50, you're valuable met. A 27-year-old at a conference. Was fiery, high energy, used to attention. Most men threw money in praise. But Dan didn't. He set clear plans, didn't chase replies, didn't overextend, didn't fold under delay. At first, she tested him, took forever to respond, got snarky, played distant. And Dawn stayed unbothered, staying present, stayed unavailable to nonsense. Slowly, she started chasing his time. Not because he gave more, but because he gave less with intention. Lesson: you don't need to impress her. You need to impress upon her what she stands to lose if she fumbles. Rule 10, let her earn your depth. You've lived, you've seen the world turn slow and brutal. You've endured heartbreak. You've built yourself again and again. And now you carry something most younger men don't have yet. Depth, wisdom, earned in fire. Scars hidden behind calm eyes. Silence that speaks volumes. That's power. But here's where most older men fail. They give that depth away too fast, too soon. Two women haven't earned it. Two women who don't know what to do with it. You meet a beautiful younger woman. She's charming. Curious, seems different. And you begin to open up your past, your regrets, your philosophy, your heart. You expose your emotional vault thinking, this will show her I'm not like other men. But here's the problem. Vulnerability without qualification is not connection. It's exposure. Anzo Mides, it doesn't pull her in. It overwhelms her. Or worse, it bores her. Because real depth isn't attractive to the unprepared. It's confusing. Heavy. Remember this? You don't owe her your story. Not on the first date. Not because she's pretty. Not because she asks. She must earn it. Through consistency, through maturity, through emotional steadiness. Just because she asks. Deep questions doesn't mean she's ready for deep answers. Leather proves she's worthy of your truth. Because your truth is a temple, not a coffee shop. Let me show you what it looks like. Mark, 53, divorced, experienced, met a 29-year-old artist, free-spirited, emotionally intense. On their first few dates, she kept asking, tell me your biggest heartbreak. You believe in soulmates? Have you ever cried in front of someone? She was diving deep fast. But Mark didn't. Not because he was cold, but because he was watching. He smiled, redirected, and instead of answering, he asked her, how do you handle criticism? What happens when you don't get your way? He didn't give her a story. He gave her a mirror, and over time she revealed more about herself than she realized. After a few weeks, when she'd proven her emotional weight, then he opened up. And when headed, it landed because she'd earned it. That's the difference between a man who leaks his soul to anyone who listens and a man who protects his kingdom until somebody proves they can stand in it. Seneca said, as is a tale, so is life. Not how long it is, but how good it is what matters. Apply that to connection. It's not how fast you get deep. It's how real it feels when you finally do. You're not guarded, you're disciplined. You don't punish, you filter. You're not cold, you're commanding. You don't give away your light like a cheap lamp in a hallway. You let her earn it one step at a time. Final thoughts? From puppet to pillar. Let's be honest. If you've meditated this far, you're not just a man. You're a man who's searching for grounding, for strength, for clarity, for something deeper than games and gimmicks. And that means you're already above 95% of men out there. You're not just here to get the girl. You're here to master yourself, to stop chasing and start leading, to stop performing and start embodying, to stop shrinking and start holding. The line? Saw hers, your next move. Lead with calm. Move with direction. Protect your emotional depth like sacred ground. Be unshakable, not flashy. Be still, not loud. Be him. Because the moment you stop trying to impress her, you become an experience she never saw coming. Comment below. Lead from center if you're done performing and ready to live from the truth. Subscribe to the channel not just for dating advice, but for mastery, mindset, and masculine clarity. And if you want to go even deeper to explore exclusive content, tactical Stoic breakdowns, bend a brotherhood of high-level men, subscribe to my channel Stoic Tips, because you're not just chasing her, you're building you. And that is second of man no one forgets. Music.